need some selling, need some bears to come in, and then I will take a breakout on this particular position. Or, as I mentioned earlier, if that doesn't happen and we end up trading lower, I'd be looking to go long off of 110,357, which is the 100 on the 3-minute chart.
All right, folks, we've got Jerremy Newsome back in the house. We've just done an awesome podcast. There'll be a link under the video for that, but don't check it out just yet. He's about to be challenged and mark up his own strategy that he uses on Tesla every day on a Euro US dollar chart and see if he can actually make it work, which is the challenge I put to him in the podcast. So, Jerremy, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked to be here, brother. Thank you.
Well, let's share your chart and get this thing underway.
Folks, if you want to trade big without risking your own money, check out Blue Guardian. You can get instant funding up to $400k, and they sponsor Chris Eubank Jr. and Birmingham City FC. Check them out at blueguardian.com or click the link in the description.
Pretty easy, pretty simple for me. Start with the 100, 200 simple moving averages. That's always kind of my go-to. And I really just kind of study volume and study price and see what's going on. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Notice where these are at. I'm going to just draw some lines. So it's like, okay, cool. I know where these are at. So there's the 100 is blue and the 200 is red. That's the daily. There's the weekly. I can see why we're going higher right now on Euro US dollar is we have broken out of the weekly and daily 100, 200, and then pop over to the monthly, and that's going to be a target. So really, really good overhead resistance would end up being right there, which we will hit here pretty soon. Beautiful. So now if I really come up, so the 200 on the monthly is all the way up here. And just from a price structure, we do have a higher low. So my assumptions are going to be that if, right, we create that if then, I talk about that in the podcast, if we break 113, we'd really like to revisit and kind of retest. And then ultimately it could trade back up into this 120 area. That'll probably take a couple of years before that can happen. Because again, this is on the monthly chart. So diving into the daily time frame, what we're really beautiful to see, and now I'm just going to hide my lines just for the educational purposes for a second. But what's really beautiful is you'll see how we did have this amazing breakout of the 100, 200 on the daily. This retest here, you can see how perfectly we just interacted with this moving average. So just really, really gorgeous, gorgeous setup. Turn my lines back on. This would have been a spot where I would have been accumulating and buying, euros. If I'm trading Forex, is like I want to buy the euro after this big breakout as it pulled back into multiple moving averages on those multiple time frames, daily, 200, and then the 100, 200 on the weekly with both support levels. So us breaking out above there does have me wanting to go more long. So now I'm going to pop into a smaller time frame with Forex. Forex is obviously trade often. Really, really good breakout here. Very nice little trend. I would be looking for a long, and the 100, 200 on the hourly are all the way down there. So nothing to really worry about there. And then here on the 3-minute, which is where I almost primarily trade Tesla, you'll see that we're starting to break above the 200 as it stands presently. So ultimately, my favorite trade right now, since we are in a bull trend, would be if it trades down into 110 here, this particular area, I would like to buy it down there. If we get down there, again, if, then, kind of always coming up with those scenarios. And then as of present moment, this is again on a 3-minute chart. So this is the 7:15 candle. So we have 30 seconds for this candle to close. And I would want this candle to close bearish. And the reason I would want this candle to close bearish is because that means that there are bears coming in to sell and to short. And I want those bears to be trapped. I want this consolidation to happen, and then I want us to break out, and this would be a long trade because that is the current trend right now. So if this closes bullish, right, like it does, that means I would continue to wait. No trade for me presently. This candle needs to close bearish and have some selling pressure because we've already had a nice little rotation above the 200. I want this compression and consolidation to come in here, and then I'll take that breakout. So I'm going to kind of let that marinate for a second, and I'm going to pop over to Tesla. I'll just kind of give you the exact same thing on Tesla here. So on the daily chart, one of my rules that I mentioned in the podcast is that it has to be not an inside day. So we have to open below the low or open above the high of the prior day in order for me to trade Tesla that day. That's one of my go-tos, right? Open below the low of the prior day, which means I was able to trade this day, this day, this day, this day, this day, this day, in this day.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, and you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
So there are not tons and tons and tons of trading opportunities, and that's okay. I'm just waiting for the best of the best anyway. And these are from strict day trade perspectives. So I'm looking for an open below low or an open above the high of the prior day. That's always kind of like my major go-to. And I still use those long-term averages. So what we'll notice is the 100 and 200 here. Since we're below the 200 on the daily chart, this is acting as a fantastic resistance. So I'm using this time to sell call options against the shares that I own, bringing in income from covered calls. And I have effectively sold really, really good premiums. I have sold some covered calls on this day, sold some covered calls on this day, and sold covered calls yesterday. So those are call sales against shares that I own long-term, bringing in cash flow and bringing in premium from that. If I go to the weekly chart, what you're going to notice is the weekly on Tesla has been also fantastic because we are trading and interacting with my 100 and 200 on a weekly. So I'm using these weekly averages as support levels, as places to buy. I'm also selling insurance, selling puts on Tesla down and below these prices to, again, capture premium, capture volatility, and kind of let the fear marinate a little bit on Tesla. On the daily chart, I can say, knowing that the weekly is acting as a support, knowing that this is a beautiful double bottom, we are retesting the neckline, and we have really, really great bullish volume coming in here. Knowing all those things to be true, if Tesla closes below these candles, which means it would close below the weekly 100, 200, I definitely at that present moment would be more bearish, expecting some selling to come in. And that way I would be selling calls again. I would be buying puts a little bit more aggressively, and I'll be looking for short day trades primarily. So that's kind of like on a swing trade, bigger core time frame. On a 3-minute chart, all I have to do is just go back to yesterday, and again, you'll see I'll pull up this 10 EMA, and very, very similar to what I was referring to on Euro US dollar, is once I have this 10 EMA up, I'm waiting for bear candles to close above the 10 EMA. Right, bear candles to close above the 10 EMA. So I'm going to point to a couple. The ones I'm going to point to in green, we never triggered. And what that means is we never went higher than those candles. So the ones in, let me just do this all synchronicity. So the one in green, we never went above, which means I would not have gotten triggered in bullish. And right here, sorry, let me make this orange. My bad. Okay, orange. So this is a bear candle closing above the 10. This is a bear candle closing above the 10. This is a bear candle closing above the 10. This is a bear. So all 4 of those, I'm getting in as that goes higher above that particular bear candle. And that trade worked out extremely well. I was very, very happy about Tesla because it really, really broke up nicely to the upside. Was able to capture some points here, was able to capture some points here. And ultimately my goal is look for momentum, use the 10 EMA, wait for bear candles to close above that 10 EMA. And then if I get some good bear candles closing, after they close, I get in long above that candle and just try to capture my points. So back over to Euro US dollar. So we still have not closed bullish. We still have not had a bear candle close yet. So I'd still be waiting as of the present moment. So I need some selling, need some bears to come in, and then I will take a breakout on this particular position. Or as I mentioned earlier, if that doesn't happen and we end up trading lower, I'd be looking to go long off of 110.357, which is the 100 on the 3-minute chart. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. As I mentioned, feel free to pop over to reallifetrading.com. We have loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of free courses, tons and tons and tons. And they're extremely useful, extremely viable, extremely helpful, and you will love them. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this podcast, guys. Let's keep crushing it.
Hey folks, just jumping in here quickly. Now, if you're looking to trade dynamically, you want to learn from my own trading mentor, JJ, then what you need to do is click the link in the description, register your interest, because we're going to be launching this Dynamic Traders Club very soon and you don't want to miss out.